Welcome back to Azeem USA. Today we are diving into an incredibly exciting and highly affordable new tech release, the CHUWI CoreBook Air 226V. We've got the specs, the performance numbers, and everything you need to know about this new Copilot Plus PC.
Yeah, it's one of those devices that really makes you do a double take when you see it.
Oh, absolutely. Because, imagine finding a laptop with a gorgeous 2.8K screen, an ultra-thin aluminum chassis, dual Thunderbolt 4 ports, and a brand new AI processor capable of 97 trillion operations a second.
Right.
And then, just imagine looking at the price tag and seeing around $750 to $799.
Which is wild, because your first thought probably isn't, wow, what a fantastic deal.
No, your first thought is almost certainly, okay, what is fundamentally broken here? Like, what's the catch?
Exactly. We've all been trained to be, deeply suspicious of a bargain like that.
Which is why our mission on this deep dive today is to cut right through the marketing hype. We are taking the official spec sheets and slamming them directly into the independent performance data to find out what is actually going on under the hood. We're going to figure out if this is the ultimate budget powerhouse or if there are compromises you need to know about before you upgrade.
It's the perfect mindset. Because when they promise a premium experience for well under $1,000, which is normally plastic chassis and slow processor territory, you have to assume there's marketing tape holding it together.
Right. So let's start with the brain of the operation. If we want to understand this laptop, we have to look at the engine.
And the engine room here is where things get genuinely fascinating. Because they didn't just toss in last year's leftover silicon. They used the newly released Intel Core Ultra 5 226V processor.
The Lunar Lake chip.
Yes. Intel's brand new Lunar Lake architecture. It's an 8-core, 8-thread chip. And sure, just 8 threads might sound modest if you're used to desktop workstations, but the secret sauce is how it's manufactured. It's built on the TSMC N3B 3nm process.
Okay, let's unpack that right away. 3 nanometers.
Yeah.
For anyone listening who isn't, spending their weekends reading semiconductor white papers, what does that actually mean when you're sitting at a coffee shop trying to work?
Well, it translates directly to extreme efficiency. Physically, a nanometer is unimaginably small. So the smaller that number gets, the more microscopic transistors you can pack into the exact same area on the silicon wafer.
Right.
And more transistors mean more capability without requiring a massive power draw. This specific chip operates at a remarkably low 25-watt TDP.
Meaning it doesn't need to pull huge wattage from the wall, and consequently it doesn't output a ton of heat.
Exactly. You get very snappy performance without turning the bottom of the laptop into a space heater that burns your lap.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
No. But as impressive as the thermals are, the real headline for Lunar Lake is the AI capability. This chip hits up to 97 TOPS total.
Trillion operations per second.
Right, 97 TOPS in total AI computing performance.
Wait, I need to stop you there because tech companies throw around the acronym TOPS all the time right now.
Oh.
It feels like just the ultimate marketing buzzword.
Oh, totally.
Does 97 trillion operations per second actually mean anything for my daily workflow? Or is it just a vanity metric for the box?
That's the exact right question to ask. And the answer is yes, it actually matters. But we have to break down where the number comes from. It isn't just one part of the chip. It's a combined effort across the main CPU, the integrated graphics, which is the Intel Arc 130V GPU, and most importantly, the Intel AI Boost NPU.
The neural processing unit.
Right. It's a dedicated physical block of silicon designed just for AI math. And that NPU handles up to 40 TOPS all on its own.
So if I'm not a software developer writing complex AI models, why should I care about an NPU?
Because it lets you run modern software locally. When you use generative AI tasks in Windows 11 right now, like Microsoft's Click to Do or Co-Creator or Live Captions, those historically required a constant internet connection.
Yeah, your computer had to send the request to a massive server farm to do the heavy lifting.
Exactly, and then send it back, which introduces lag, completely breaks down if you're on a plane without Wi-Fi, and raises massive privacy concerns.
Because you're sending your data to a third party.
Yeah.
But with 40 TOPS of dedicated NPU power, your laptop just does the math itself.
Precisely. The AI features are instantaneous, zero cloud latency, and it's totally private. Your screen contents, your audio, it never leaves the physical machine on your desk.
That's a massive shift. And speaking of doing the heavy lifting locally, the performance data shows this chip isn't just a one-trick pony for AI. The integrated graphics, that Arc 130V, is surprisingly muscular.
It really is.
Yeah, in independent stress tests, it handled basic 4K video editing without breaking a sweat. It could export a 1-minute 4K clip using a YouTube preset in just 39 seconds.
which is an incredible number for a 25-watt processor. Older thin and light laptops would just choke on 4K footage and take several minutes for a basic cut.
Right, but how is it doing that? Because 39 seconds still feels like magic for a chip this small.
It's not magic, it's highly specialized hardware called Intel QuickSync. Instead of forcing the general CPU cores to grind through encoding video frames, QuickSync is a dedicated section of silicon that just encodes and decodes video, so it flies through the export timeline while barely sipping power.
Wow. And here's where it gets really interesting for the casual crowd. This laptop can actually game.
Yeah, but we should be clear.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody is calling this a dedicated gaming rig. You're not playing Cyberpunk on max settings. But when reviewers tested it, it ran Grand Theft Auto V at around 50 frames per second on high settings at 1080p.
That's really impressive for an integrated GPU.
Right. And if you want to drop into something competitive like Counter-Strike, it runs very comfortably on lower settings at a 1200p resolution.
Which is more than enough for winding down in a hotel room after a business trip. But, as we said at the start, we have a mission to find the catch.
We do. And I've got an analogy for the biggest limitation we found in the specs. I like to think of this processor like a world-class Michelin star chef.
Okay, I like where this is going.
The chef is incredibly capable, lightning fast, top of their field. But the prep table they are working on is bolted directly to the floor, and it is very small. They can cook amazingly fast because everything is in arm's reach, but they can never make the table bigger.
Right.
If a massive banquet order comes in, they simply run out of counter space. The glaring limitation of the CoreBook Air 226V is that the prep table is hard-capped at 16 gigabytes, period.
That's an excellent way to visualize it, and it's crucial for you to understand because it's easy to just point fingers and say the manufacturer is cheaping out to hit that $750 price point.
But that's not what's happening.
Not at all. The 16 gigs of memory is LPDDR5X, running at a blistering 8,533 mega transfers per second. But the key is that it's built directly onto the Intel package. It sits on the same little green square as the CPU die itself.
Meaning it is physically impossible to upgrade. You can't just unscrew the back 3 years from now and pop in a 32 gig stick of RAM.
Exactly. It's an unavoidable architectural limitation of the Lunar Lake chip. Intel designed it that way to drastically reduce the physical distance data has to travel. That ultra-low latency is part of why it's so fast and power efficient.
But what you buy on day one is exactly what you have on day 1000.
Yes. So if your workflow demands massive memory like 80 Chrome tabs, while 3D rendering 16 gigs is a hard ceiling.
But there's a fascinating engineering cause and effect here. Because Intel bolted that memory directly onto the CPU, the actual motherboard required inside this machine can be incredibly small.
Right.
And that massive space saving is precisely what allowed CHUWI to make the outside of the laptop look and feel the way it does.
And we should definitely talk about that physical body, because looking at the spec sheets and the hands-on tests, the design is clearly where they want to win you over.
Oh, for sure. We're talking about a sandblasted, anodized aluminum alloy chassis. It weighs in at an ultralight 1.2 kilograms, which is right around 2.6 pounds, and it's impressively thin, measuring just 9 to 16.8 millimeters at its thickest point.
The physical build quality is striking for the price. Reviewers consistently pointed out that you can open the lid with one hand.
Which sounds like a trivial detail to the average user. But in the hardware world, a smooth, one-handed open is a hallmark of premium engineering.
It really is. It requires the manufacturer to perfectly balance the weight distribution in the base against the precise tension of the hinges. If the hinges are too stiff, the whole laptop lifts off the desk.
It's a subtle indicator that they didn't just slap parts into a generic plastic mold. But the absolute star of the physical design is the screen.
It is stunning. It's a 14-inch, 2.8K IPS display that's 2880 by 1800 pixels, 100% RGB color gamut for accuracy, and a 16.9 aspect ratio.
Let's pause on that aspect ratio. For a long time, the industry standard was 16.9, exactly the shape of your TV. Great for movies, but terrible for work.
Yeah, you constantly have to scroll.
Right. A 16.10 ratio gives you significantly more vertical space. If you are reading a long PDF or writing code, you can literally see more lines of text. It's a massive quality of life upgrade.
And the kicker is the refresh rate. It's a 120 Hz panel. Finding a 120 Hz 2.8K screen inside an aluminum chassis at this price tier is exceptionally rare.
Every interaction from scrolling a heavy web page to just dragging a window feels unbelievably fluid.
They also paired it with a solid input experience. The backlit keyboard has 1.4 millimeters of travel, so you aren't just tapping on hard glass, and the touchpad is large and responsive.
You know, before we get into the compromises, if you're enjoying our breakdown of the CoreBook Air today, please consider supporting the channel. You can drop a super chat, leave a super thanks, or join our channel memberships to keep the Azeem USA community growing. And remember, for all the specs and details we are discussing today, make sure to check out the Read More link in the description below.
Awesome. But yeah, we promised to find the compromises, didn't we?
We did. We found the fixed RAM. Now, where else do you actually feel the budget?
You feel it in the peripherals. To use your sports car analogy, it's like buying a beautiful car with a world-class engine, but they clearly installed a bargain bin stereo system to save a few bucks.
Ouch.
Yeah, the audio testing reveals the downward-firing dual speakers are noticeably quiet, they lack bass, and are just average. You are absolutely going to need headphones for movies or mixing.
And the webcam falls into that exact same category, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-megapixel 1080p sensor. It'll get you through a morning Zoom meeting fine, but the image can appear a bit grainy if your lighting isn't perfect. It's strictly just okay.
Although I have to point out a massive win on that webcam for privacy-conscious users. Not only does it have a physical privacy shutter that slides over the lens, but it also has a secondary hardware switch on the side of the laptop.
Oh, that's a great feature.
You flip that switch, and it completely disables the camera at a hardware level, cutting power to the sensor. Nobody can hack a camera that is physically disconnected from power.
That gives you serious peace of mind.
Okay, so we know it looks premium, the screen is fantastic, and the performance is snappy. But a modern laptop lives or dies by two vital metrics: how it connects to the rest of your gear and how long it stays alive away from the wall.
Let's talk connectivity, because this is another area where the spec sheet is genuinely shocking for an $800 machine. The port selection is remarkably robust.
No bag full of dongles required.
Nope. You get a dedicated HDMI 2.0 port, 3 standard USB-A ports at varying speeds, a 3.5mm audio jack, and the absolute stars of the show dual Thunderbolt 4 ports.
Let's really emphasize why this matters.
Yeah.
Having two Thunderbolt 4 ports fundamentally changes the entire lifespan of this machine.
It does. Thunderbolt 4 isn't just a standard USB-C port. It supports 40 gigabits per second of data transfer. It supports 65-watt fast charging, which gets the laptop from 0 to 63% in exactly 1 hour.
Wow.
Yeah. It drives multiple high-res external displays, but most importantly, it supports eGPUs.
External graphics processing units. I love explaining this because it sounds like science fiction if you haven't seen one.
Oh, absolutely. Lay it out.
Basically, Thunderbolt 4 allows the port on the outside to communicate directly with the ultra-fast internal highways on the motherboard, meaning you can buy an enclosure for your desk, put a massive desktop graphics card inside it, and plug it into this ultralight laptop with a single cable.
It's amazing.
You could have this 2.6-pound laptop tucked in your backpack for classes all day, sipping power. Then you come home, plug in one cable, and suddenly your thin productivity machine is leveraging a desktop GPU to become a serious AAA gaming rig.
The versatility there is incredible. It provides a massive graphical upgrade path, which is vital because the internal upgrade path on the motherboard is limited to exactly one component: the solid-state storage drive.
Right. The laptop ships with a 512-gigabyte PCIe NVMe SSD. The benchmarking reveals it's actually an older PCIe 3.0 model, getting around 2,500 megabytes per second read and write.
Which is perfectly fine for 90% of daily tasks. You aren't going to notice a bottleneck booting up Windows or opening a spreadsheet.
True, but the PCIe lanes work like a highway system. PCI 3.0 is a 4-lane highway with a specific speed limit. But the slot itself actually supports PCIe 4.0x4 drives, which essentially doubles the speed limit.
So if you need to transfer massive 4K video files later on, you can absolutely drop in a lightning-fast Gen 4 SSD.
Okay, we put it off long enough. We need to talk about the battery. Because the marketing sheets make a very bold claim. They state the 55-watt-hour battery gives you up to 15 hours of video playback.
And this right here is exactly why we rely on independent performance data. That 15-hour claim is a laboratory best-case scenario.
Oh, for sure.
Manufacturers turn the brightness to a dim glow, turn off Wi-Fi, and just loop a low-res video until it dies. The real-world data paints a drastically different picture.
It's exactly like a car's highway mileage rating, up to 40 miles per gallon. Sure, if you're driving downhill in neutral with a tailwind.
Exactly. When reviewers actually put this under standard daily stress, the hard numbers tell the real story. Under light, use 30% brightness, basic web browsing, document editing expect about 5.5 to 6 hours.
Ouch, and under heavy load.
If you're running that 4K video export or playing GTA V, it plummets to about 2.5 hours.
That is a massive reality check. That makes this a coffee shop hopper, not an off-the-grid survival tool. You need to know where your charger is.
It's the inevitable trade-off for physics. A 55 watt-hour battery is relatively small, which is how they kept the weight down to 1.2 kilos. But pair a small battery with a power-hungry 2.8K screen, refreshing 120 times a second, and it drains fast.
So bring this all together. We have to weigh the incredible display, the aluminum chassis, and the Lunar Lake AI chip against the fixed 16 gigs of RAM, the mediocre speakers, and the sub-6-hour battery. What is the ultimate value proposition here for you, the listener?
We have to heavily contextualize that $750 to $799 price tag. Getting a Lunar Lake processor, a 120 Hz 2.8K screen, and dual Thunderbolt 4 wrapped in aluminum at this price is highly unusual. Usually you're looking closer to $1,200 or $1,300.
And there's a massive software surprise hidden in the spec sheets that adds invisible value. This laptop ships with Windows 11 Pro,
Which is fantastic for power users. Most consumer laptops force Windows 11 Home on you, which forces a painful online setup process requiring a Microsoft account. Pro allows for a much faster offline local setup out of the box.
Even better, the data showed it actually comes with Microsoft Office pre-installed and permanently licensed.
Wait, really?
Yeah, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they're just ready to go. You don't have to immediately drop an extra $100 on a subscription just to do your homework. That's a massive value add.
Synthesizing all this, the target audience becomes very clear. This is an almost unbeatable value for college students, budget-conscious business professionals, and general content consumers. If you need a snappy, portable machine for daily tasks, typing, and light gaming, this checks almost every box.
It only falls short if you're a heavy 3D animator, a competitive gamer, or someone who works in the field for 10 hours a day away from an outlet.
It really makes you rethink the entry-level market, and it raises a fascinating industry question for you to ponder. If a $750 laptop now casually includes hardware-accelerated video encoding, Thunderbolt 4, 120 Hz display, and local NPU AI processing, what does the phrase high-end even mean anymore?
That's a great point.
Are we rapidly approaching a plateau where the average user will simply never need to spend $2,000 on a flagship laptop again because the baseline has become so incredibly capable?
It's like finding out the bargain price sports car actually does have a world-class engine, and the only catch is you might have to plug in your own Bluetooth speaker, and you'll definitely stop for gas more often. I think most of us would take those crees in a heartbeat. Thanks for tuning in to Azeem USA. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.